All right, so welcome back to another episode of the To Be Seen podcast. I'm your host, Angela Lauren, and I'm here with another amazing creative and photographer here in Houston, Brittany Emanuel. She's the owner of Brittany Emanuel Photography. So tell us about what you do, the business you own. We don't have to just talk about photography, but that's how we know each other, through photography. So I know you do weddings, you do families, you do all types of things, but you can tell the people.
Yeah. So I do weddings, families. I started out doing seniors. That's how I met you.
Yes.
Just getting into the industry. And I was like, you know what? I think I want to do weddings too. And you took me under your wing. Everything I needed to know, meeting with me during my planning period.
Yeah.
And so weddings is what I primarily do.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do maternity, families, pretty much if you ask me to do it, how when it comes to photography.
Right. So yeah, Brittany and I met when she was getting into weddings. I don't want to say I was probably like 2 or 3 years in at that point and kind of knew weddings a little bit more. And she contacted me and I was like, yeah, like I need some help, like for sure. She knew what she was doing. And that's kind of how we connected. But I really wanted to get her on the podcast because I want to showcase a lot of dope Black females. Let me not even say females, a lot of dope Black women creatives that are in my circle and know the business. And I want you guys to know their story and understand what it's like to be in this space. So yeah, have you always been like, let me kind of move in a creative direction?
I've always been like super creative. Before I even got into seniors and wedding photography, I was a blogger.
Were you? I did not know that.
To make my own clothes. I would be up in Joann's picking out fabric and patterns. I would make my own. The blog is probably still out there somewhere. I never shut it down. And I would make my own stuff. And I taught my husband how to use the camera. He would take my photos. We'd be in Greenway Plaza.
Really?
Taking photos. And so that's really that was my segue into photography.
Okay.
But I had no idea that I was going to be a photographer. I just was kind of doing my own thing. And so I've always been like super creative, kind of doing my own thing. And yeah, it started out with blogging when it came to like using a camera.
Yeah, that's crazy. So when did you decide, okay, I could really make this a business and like take it there as like one of my main things?
So I was a teacher.
Yeah.
And so I got into seniors because of my students. They were graduating. And I was like, I'm just going to take their pictures and see. And so some of their friends really liked their photos and were like, we want to hire you to take our portraits. And I was like, you think I'm that good? So I did it. And then I was like, okay, I like seniors, but I think I like weddings.
Yeah.
I want to get into weddings. I was like, fascinated by, photography and like bringing the day together. And I actually have been following you for a while. You look like you thought about getting into it. And so when we moved to Houston, and I was like, okay, I want to do weddings. And I was like, I need to find someone that will like mentor me and like show me the ropes. And I was like, I followed this dope girl. Shoot my shot and see if I can make her the lunch. And that's where it came from. I started with my students and I was like, you know what? I think I want to do more and kind of turn this hobby into a business. And it went from there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know that. Like, I'm like, I think on Anne's episode, we were talking about like, you've got to have your people. So for a while there, like you were really a part of my team and it was like a huge asset for me and you. We were kind of both learning at the same time. We'll just interject real quick and then we'll circle back. So not to get too personal, but Brittany and I kind of fell off for a couple of years. And I think this is perfect because it can help other people. And then not to get into too much detail, but Brittany reached out. We hadn't spoken in a few years and we reconnected. And I think just to take a second and let's just talk about like what it means to like rekindle a friendship and put your pride aside and take accountability and all those things. So I just want to put it out there that for me, like, I am a stubborn person. And when Brittany and I rekindled a couple of months ago, I was explaining to her that when we fell off, like, I had a whole shutdown moment because I didn't have the language. And I've learned as I've gotten better that communication is everything. And even in friendship, even in any type of discourse that may arise, communication is everything. And I think there was a lot of time lost because I wasn't able to verbally communicate what happened on my side or whatever, if there was a miscommunication, not to go into too much detail. So yeah, we are also working through all of those things. And it's like, I'm very thankful to have you back, and like, so that we and I was just gonna say that I'm really honored that you were like, okay, let me try and reach out again.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not an easy thing to do. So yeah, if you're in a situation where you have a friend that you haven't heard from or reached out to, and you feel like it's a situation that is beneficial for you, then be vulnerable and reach out. And it's okay to rekindle situations that are best.
Yeah, especially if you value
Yeah.
a person and you value what you guys had. I think that was the key for me. We worked so well together.
Yeah.
We also like became like close.
Yeah.
And so for me, you were like, I'm stubborn. I don't want to talk about it.
I needed to be right. You were. But I think that helps though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps because you need someone that is willing to be like, we got to talk this out. Because like I said, I had to learn for a while there, like, shutting down is not the answer, because you really could just communicate that there was miscommunication. So I truly, truly, truly value that you were like, okay, Angela, we got to talk this out. And that we were both receptive of rekindling. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, so I love to have her on this episode. But okay, sorry, we were going back to we started building a team and going into weddings. So what is your journey like now? Because that was years ago.
So my son, my oldest, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He's about to be 8.
Yeah. Wow.
And so my journey has changed.
Yeah.
At first I was like, I'm trying to grow this business. Like, I'm trying to this, I have this goal, I have that goal. And now I am like straight mothering.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I still do it, I still pursue it. I love all of my clients and potential clients. I'm still full force, but also they are my priority. I have 2 boys now.
Yeah.
Kyler's 7. Kellen will be 4 this year. July. And so time moves fast, it goes. I was pregnant.
Yeah.
COVID. He's about to be 4.
You keep saying that. I'm like, oh my God, I remember when she was pregnant.
Yeah. I don't take for granted this. And so nothing comes before that. And so I'm so grateful that I'm able to do this business and be present.
Yeah.
So my journey with photography, not that it's taken a back seat, but, I still do it. I'm still very present with my business, but I'm also like my kids, I look up, and I'll still have the business, but they're growing up, they're doing their own thing. And like, did I put it before them? Like, I don't want that narrative for myself. And so it's changed a little bit. I kind of dialed back just a little bit, to be there for my boys. And maybe, I know we're kind of thinking like, do we want number 3? And I'm like, oh Lord, what's up now?
Yeah.
And so that's for me where it is. I still very much love to do weddings. But I also love that now, post COVID, people are really wanting to do micro weddings, and sign me up. I love that. And I love that they're kind of changing like the face of like weddings. But it also works perfectly for me, because I'm like, yeah, I can do that and still have time. Because I think people don't realize with photography, doing 8+ hours a day, it's not just a day. It's a lot of pre-work. It's a lot of post work.
Yeah.
A lot of post work. And so that eats into your time, especially if you're in a space of, owning multiple businesses, or if you're a parent, or, if you work a 9 to 5, like it's a lot of energy and effort throughout the entire process.
Yeah. And I was going to say, because like, at least what I've seen is like, I think and not to say that you didn't before, but there's so much joy in motherhood and being present with your family. And like, I really use that as my like, okay, Brittany can do it. She's juggling it. And like, because I always say, at least to my family now, I'm like, my priority is how I feel, the joy I feel, the time I spend. And just like you, it's like, you don't really want to waste too much time. Like, no matter if it's just to, we always want to like provide for our family, but you still want to be present and be there.
For sure.
And I see that, especially as someone who wants to be a mother, it's like I can tell that you find so much joy.
Yeah. And the perk also is I have an amazing husband.
Yeah.
He's super supportive. Like, he's holding down the fort while I'm pushing 10 days, traveling here and there for weddings. And so that is an added bonus for me. Like, he is like, oh, you have one? Okay, cool. Yeah. What do you need from me? He's packing up my stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. My car is good. You need some coffee. Like,
Yeah.
he's holding down the fort, but he's super supportive. He's always, since day one, oh, you want to do it? Like, okay, cool. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Okay, how can I support you? And so that for me is also like a really big piece in like my success in this, and my success as a mother, and being able to like juggle both.
Yeah. Would you say like making sure that you have that balance with your partner is like key? Like, how do you, if someone was looking to juggle all these things, that they are a mother or they want to get into a business, is it like, okay, I know that I wouldn't be able to do this without my partner?
It's a major key, because if they're not supportive, then you're running yourself ragged.
Yeah.
To figure all things out. What's going to happen with the kids while you're gone?
Yeah.
Are they going to be good? You don't want to just kind of put them off, but also like, how am I going to make sure my clients are good too?
Yeah.
How am I going to make sure I'm meeting deadlines? How am I going to make sure that, I'm meeting what they are requesting of me? And so being able to have that time is only because, my husband Derek is like a team player.
Yeah.
If I needed him to pick up a camera,
So you're like, I need somebody to
like, tell me when he's right. But
you set it up, I'll press the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And so if you have a family, if you're wanting to grow a family, like, that is a major, major piece in a successful, I think it's good, just communication in general. We're talking about like in a marriage,
Yeah.
right? It's super important, because I can't just be like, oh, I got a wedding tomorrow, and I haven't communicated effectively, because like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to do it without him. It's a major piece in my success, as with my family, but also with my business.
And that makes me think of two things. I'll circle back to the other thing. But so when you ever feel imbalanced, just as a person, as you, as Brittany, how do you circle back to yourself? Because I know that there's a lot of things, you are a mom, you are a wife, you are a business owner. So I know, especially, I don't wear as many hats, but how burnout it can be. So how do you take the time to circle back to Brittany?
Burnout is real, and sometimes you just got to talk that thing out.
Yeah.
Like, I have incredible like personal mentors that like, will keep it all the way 100 with me, but also if I need to cry, they let me cry it out. My husband, again, is like my rock.
Yeah.
I need to talk to him. If I get frustrated about something and I just need to let out, he's like, okay, do you want me to listen? Do you want me to give you like, what do you need from me to say something?
I'm just here.
Yeah, so he hears it all the time. That, and I like, listen, we cannot discount therapy.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, that's super important, because we are wearing a lot of hats as entrepreneurs, and as Black women, as mothers, as we're wearing a lot of hats, and burnout is super real.
Yeah.
And so I lean on the people that I trust and that I know that will, one, hold me accountable, but two, like, you'd be like, okay, here's my shoulder, cry.
Yeah.
Right here, talk it out, fuss it out, whatever you need to do. And that, for me, like, those people have been in my life for years.
Yeah.
They see me like grow. They see me develop. They see me when I wasn't an entrepreneur, when I am an entrepreneur, when I wasn't a mother, now that I am a mother. So they've seen me kind of go through different parts of my life and are able to like walk me through like when I feel like I want to just like throw all the chips in and I'm they're like, no, like look at what you're accomplished. Like you can't just, keep going. You got this.
Yeah.
You got it. If you need to take a break from whatever you need to, take a break, And so I'm telling you, like having like a team of people that you trust, you love, that love you back.
Yeah.
Or in like that's how I'm able to like get through it.
And let you not always be as perfect as you think you need to be. They let you just like crumble in front. I think that is also the key that has helped me. Is just like there are people that don't expect me to always have it all together. So I think that also is a major key too. But yeah, I was thinking earlier when I was like, okay, what I really want to bring up this point. Okay, so when we were at the coffee shop a couple months back, I was like telling you that, dating and trying to figure out if I want to pivot in and out of weddings. And I was like, okay, I've been in this business for so long and it's kind of become part of my identity. So like as I'm dating, and a lot of people are like, oh, you have this business. Like if I were to put it down, would they still see me as worthy? And I was like, would they still find the quality? And I remember you said, I think that they still know that you're capable. Like at any point, like you've done it before, you could do it again. Even if you don't do it again, you're still capable, And I was like, that, when I tell you, I tell everybody that. So like, are you going to stay in weddings? I'm like, I don't know. I'll put this thing down tomorrow.
Like, I know I can do it again.
Yeah.
You built a business from the ground up. Yeah. And when I tell you, like you were dropping gems, on me, like on like how y'all did it and how y'all made it work. And I was like, I ain't even think like that.
Yeah.
So if you can do it, if you do it once, you can do it again.
Yeah.
Like taking a break does not mean you're a failure.
Yeah.
It means I'm focusing on me right now, or whatever your children, man, whatever it is, life.
Yeah.
I'm taking a moment, but don't get it twisted. I can do this.
Yeah.
Because I've done it once and it's not easy. Building a business and running a business. Like to me, that's like
it's so heavy. And it's like sometimes I look back and I'm just like, I have just been trying to make something work. So I have no idea. And I wish, like when I started, I'm like, I wish I could have called a Brittany or called this person or that person. So for me to have gotten successful or whatever, or have made it work for so long, I don't know if it was like a trauma thing where I'm like, okay, it's become my identity, but you can also put this down and still hold your head up high and still be very, very, very valuable.
And I think you said you've done it for so long.
Yeah.
You sustained a business.
Yeah.
And then you added a whole nother, you were like, a major, like you saw like in the future, like people gonna be watching like wedding and photo and video. So you were like you've done it, you did it well, you're still doing it well for so many. How many years has it been for you?
We're on year number 8, girl. See? Year number 8.
That's
full time. Yeah.
Full time.
Yeah.
You survived like a whole pandemic. Like 2 years is major. So yeah, don't discount yourself. Don't discredit yourself.
Yeah.
Like, no. Yeah, and you can do it in another area if you want to.
Somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, because I don't know, this is not about me, but I'm like, I don't know, because like I said, I want to go into the being a mom, being a partner, and I just cannot see myself pouring as much of myself as I am currently. So I'm like, I know that I'm gonna put this down at some point, and I'm trying to find a space where I'm like, and that's okay too. Like you can solely just wear a motherhood hat or a partner hat and be just fine and still be worthy. Yeah.
I think that's a big piece, like just being okay with that season of your life. Because and don't get me wrong, there's sometimes I'm like, dang, I want to be at this event. But I also understand, like, this is my season, like, to be a mother, like, my kids and their schedules, and, like, this is where I am right now.
Yeah.
I won't always have this. Like, there's gonna always be an event. There's gonna always be there's gonna always be these things, but I won't always have a 4 and 7-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I won't always have the flexibility that I have with them. And so I think being okay in that season is really important, because if it does get too tied into your identity, you'll start to be like, okay, well, like you said before, like, am I worthy? Like,
Yeah.
am I doing good? And I have all those feelings,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? But I have to remind myself that I'm doing a great job with these little boys that are become men. They're gonna become men one day, and they're gonna look back and be like, my mother was present or she wasn't present.
That part.
Like, you can provide all of the material things, and that's great. It makes them happy in the moment, but was she there? You know, did she pick me up from school? You know, was I over at this person's house all the time? You know, and so that for me is like where I find like joy.
Yeah.
Like the decision of like my season right now.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm grateful that I have you as like someone that when I do start going those directions, like be like, oh my God, what do I do here? But yeah, so as you've gotten deeper into creativity, do you feel like your community is helping, or do you feel like you've found a greater community in this space at all?
I do. I think I found like I do feel like I wish I could like expand a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I said, this season I'm in is just mothering, you know.
Yeah.
So I do, but the ones that I have connected with, several women in this industry have just been like amazing, super supportive. Like, you know, we do things for one another. Like, you know, we have opportunity, like, hey, you know what I mean? They shoot for like me and my family, vice versa. I would for them also. Giving each other, like, dropping gems, like, oh, this is what I did to do this to make it successful, or what do you think? You know?
Yeah.
And so that for me is like a major community, because otherwise you'll be kind of shooting in the dark, or you're experiencing things and you think you're alone.
Yeah.
And then you get to talking with like your group of people, and you're like, oh, you too? Okay. So I thought I was crazy, but no.
Yeah. And it's not, and you realize it's not as personal as you thought.
Oh, yeah.
Man, when I tell you, I love the community that we've built. And I'm just like, because you start to feel alone, you start to think that like someone's personally attacking you or your character or anything like that. And like you said, it's just like other people are dealing with it.
Mhm.
Especially right now. I know a lot of people are in the season of clients they're ghosting. And I see in the group chat people like, no, we're getting ghosted too. I'd be like, okay.
I thought it was just me. And I was talking to a friend that I actually met here. She's a part of my community, and she actually moved to another state, and she's thriving.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it's just me. But then another photographer in our community, he did a post about ghosting and how it's happening even into her. And she's like, you know, here. And I was like, girl, you too. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not just me. And it took a weight off my shoulders, because I was like, maybe it's something you start questioning yourself. And like, no. Then we all start to talk, and we're like, oh no, me too. Same here. And like, no.
And I think that is the joy of deepening, because I think there's a misconception that people think I can't help others because there's one spot. And that grinds my gears, but I'm like, I'm so thankful to have so many people that are open and willing, and we talk about things, and then we all kind of feel like, okay, this is not a personal thing. So
like for me, I feel like that's money to be made for everybody. I'm not about to gatekeep for what. Like, what does that help me with? Because there's things I need help with, and things you may be thriving in that you can help me with. Like, if I'm gatekeeping, like, you know what I mean? I just don't like that. I like, it should be a community, like you said, where we're all like reaching out, helping one another. And I feel like I found that in a lot, like you. Like some of the girls like that we worked with, I'm like, yes, I can send a message of like, hey, can I send you a message? Hey, I need a venue. I need a venue, and I'm getting lists. And so like that to me is community. It's not like I'm reading a message and whatever, you figure it out. Like, everybody jumps in and starts trying to help. And I like that. I love that. And I think it's so important, because how else can we all thrive if we're not like helping each other?
On each other. But okay, cool. So I think what we'll do is, since we're on the To Be Seen podcast, I love to always ask people on the podcast what it means to you to be seen.
Ooh,
It's a tough question.
it is. Ooh, what does it mean to be seen? You have to see me as a Black woman,
That
first
part.
and foremost. You have to see me as a Black woman navigating an industry where there's not a lot of us. You have to see me as a mother. You have to see me as a wife. And you have to see me as a person, you know, like I'm trying to navigate this world just like you.
Yeah.
And I think all of those things and some like makes Brittany.
Yeah.
Right. That is a tough question.
It is. Like, there's so many aspects. That's beautiful, though. That's beautiful. And I think it's like that makes me feel like it's just a reminder for people to be as kind as possible.
Yes.
When you see someone, you don't know anything that they're going through. And like you said, you're a Black woman, you're a mother, you're a partner, you're your own person. And it's just like people also need to respect those things, but also give you grace in those spaces.
That's a big thing. And I know sometimes it's hard because we only see things through our lens. And so we're kind of like, you know, it's hard sometimes, but I think if we're just a lot kinder, like you said, and I've started doing this thing where if I see someone they just look like they're having like a rough day, I try to compliment them. Yeah, but it's like life is hard. We don't have to make it harder for each other. And so I'm trying to like, kindness goes a long way, and you just never know like what kind of seeds you're planting to people, whether you're being rude and nasty or if you're being kind. You never know what that seed will do to someone for days and weeks to come. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm 38. You know, I've been in life for a little bit. Like I really want to like plant seeds of like kindness to people. Because we all going through it. And so that's been my thing. That's really been my thing. I went to Whataburger the other night, and the girl that was working at the window, she just looked like she was having a rough day. And she opened the window and she was gorgeous. I was like, oh, girl, you're gorgeous. And she was like, thank you. Like, you could just tell, like, she, I need to hear something.
I needed some positivity.
I need to hear something.
Yeah.
But, you know, it can go a long way.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast. You can tell the people where to find you.
You can find me on Facebook at Brittany Emanuel Photo. You can find me on Instagram at Brittany Emanuel Photography. And also on TikTok as Brittany Emanuel Photography.
I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Awesome. Good to be seen. That was a great question. Yeah.